detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again. Another episode of the Thrill Me podcast. Gibbo's back with us, mate. I'm sure you're happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. Wishing you were still on holiday.
We continue to threaten doing the Meg, but once again we continue to say, yeah, it's definitely the next episode. It's not the Meg this week. This week we've delved into the depths of canon films. So, Jared, I'd suggest this was kind of your pick.
Not really.
Yeah, you threw out a canon picture. And Bronson. You put the two of them together.
I also threw out a recent picture that's been getting good reviews, and you poo-pooed it. So was it upgrade? Oh, we could be doing upgrade. Oh,
I'm going to punch you in the throat, Adam.
I said we go this way or that way, and Adam just grabbed the wheels. Canon picture.
He's clearly drunk.
No, because we need to get we need to throw in an older picture in after a few newer films.
And we're all, some of us are priming for Death Kiss.
Yes, that's correct. Death Kiss is still on the table. So we're doing Death Wish 3.
Fuck. Peak of the series?
Yeah, possibly the peak of the series. I haven't seen a lot of the series, so it's fair to say I don't really know whether there's a peak in it. Before we get into that, let's do a quick whip round. I know, Gibbo, you've probably got a heap of stuff because we haven't heard from you in a while.
I've got serious volume.
I've only got, because we did an episode last week, so I've got very little. I watched the second episode of the Purge TV series. I gave it a second go. Look, there seems like there's some interesting stuff there, but again, I just keep coming back to the idea that it just feels like it's played. We've been here before, and it feels cheaper. Because it's on telly, it's cheaper. I'll probably give it a few more episodes, but I don't see it sort of holding my interest very well, and I don't see it getting a second season somehow. But we'll see how we go. The only other thing I watched was they put that Jimmy Barnes documentary on TV, Working Class Boy. Mate, that was bloody good.
Yeah.
Talk about a bloke who's had a prick of an upbringing. Jesus, his childhood was bloody awful. But it was a really, really interesting documentary, and he actually came across really, really well. But that's it for me. Very little.
Yeah, I was pretty light too, so I'm about halfway through season 5 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So good. It's so good. Even more than the previous season, I've had just laugh out loud parts, just a random thing that'll happen and I'll just be in stitches. Like, to the point where I have to pause the episodes because I can't hear what's going on because I'm just laughing at it so much.
It's so consistent.
I started season 3 of Gotham. So yeah, look, I enjoy it for what it is. It's just bonkers. It's off the wall. It's not really Batman, but it's a take on Batman. I'm not sure whose take, but it's entertaining enough for me, and it's got it's more in line with the old Adam West Batman TV show. Some of the crazy shit that goes on, but they kind of just embrace it and run with it. And yeah, interesting enough. And the last one I checked out was I went back to Solo, had another look at Solo. My son wanted to see it. So
yeah, was it a second view?
Yeah, look, I still think there's some stuff in it that really works. There's like some little twists and things that happen, but for a sort of rollicking adventure flick that are okay. But overall, it's just not quite there. For me, it falls like it's probably the worst of the recent Star Wars ones. So on the scale of things, it's not as good as the originals, not as good as the most recent stuff, but I liked it better than the prequels by a mile. I wouldn't say, like, you'll have this view of it that it's just going to be an absolute stinker, and it's not quite that, but it's not a gem. So, yeah, that was me.
Right, Gibbo.
All right,
let us have it.
Deep breath. Ozark season 2. Polished that off on Netflix. I think it's better than the first season. I really, really like that show. It's just the binging thing's a drama because now I've got to wait like probably a full year for the next one to come out. I just found something on Netflix called Paradise PD.
Is that an animated show? Was that any good?
It's full on, like, think Family Guy with absolutely no holds barred. Think race, drugs, sex, language, violence, everything. It's full on. It's very funny in bits, but you've got to go in and just not care, because if you get offended about anything, you'll get offended. It's right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a tough one. So I've polished that season off. Iron Fist season 2. Finished that off. Not a huge fan of Iron Fist. It's pretty doughy. It's just not much happening. The villain in this season was pretty poor.
You reckon? I thought he was much better than last season.
Oh, there's no threat. Like, I don't know. There's nothing really happening for. I don't know.
The best part of
I think
it
Iron
was that it
Fist's the
didn't
worst
focus
one.
on him as much.
Yeah, I know that.
And,
but I just think he, like, out of all of them, like, I prefer Jessica Jones by far.
Yeah.
Luke Cage is probably better. I just think Iron Fist he's just the weaker one.
But this season was good because there was so much of Colleen Wing and Misty Knight, but then Typhoid Mary.
The Colleen Wing thing was good, and the typhoid thing was all
She was
right.
fantastic. I thought
But just the main guy, I don't understand, why is he British?
Brings nothing to the table.
There's no reason why he's supposed to be like some Tibetan monk that's grew up and he's got a British accent.
But I actually, other than that, I thought he's a decent actor.
He's all right, and the martial arts part was actually a lot better than the first season.
And the idea of him was much more simplified. It was just, it's something we've seen a million times. It's this guy who was your closest friend who's now your enemy. Like
that part's fine. I don't know. It felt like something that was just being done for the sake of having a season turned out. I watched Rounders. I hadn't seen Rounders before.
Oh yeah.
And I listened to the Bill Simmons rewatchables thing for it. And I thought, I'll go and watch it. It's pretty good, but there's no explanation for why you'd be friends with Edward Norton's character in it. That worm bloke, honestly, you wouldn't be friends with him. He's just a prick of a human. I watched Atypical season 2 on Netflix as well.
Yeah.
Really like that show. It's really good. Well acted, good story. Like it's just a good all round like sort of drama comedy sort of thing. I've watched now a season and a half of Big Mouth. Season 2 just came out on Netflix as well. Love that. But again, if you get offended by anything, probably give it a miss. I watched Upgrade last night, or maybe the night before. When did I ask you about it? It was yesterday morning.
yesterday,
Yeah, so maybe 2 nights ago I watched Upgrade. I was just up by myself and thought I'd check it out. I saw the Blum stamp on it, so gave that a look and
Definitely worth it.
Really liked it. Yeah, it's not up there with like Ex Machina in terms of quality, but just the idea and stuff in it, and some brutal violence. But the action scenes, because of what the story is, it's some really interesting, like the way that they choreograph some of the stuff. It's got a little bit of the hardcore Henry thing in there, sort of thing, with the point of view stuff, sort of following him around and things. So that was pretty cool.
Now, is that directed by Lee Winnell as well?
Yeah, he wrote it and directed it.
Right.
But it's actually pretty good. I watched A Wrinkle in Time with Riley and the kids today. It is horrendous. It is really bad.
You really have like
How's Oprah?
No, mate, everything in it's bad. The fucking plot is nonsense. Stuff you'll be just going along and all of a sudden something will happen. There's no explanation for it. There's no I was mad. Like Riley she had a tie to it from a childhood from reading the book.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I was raging by the end of it.
I've actually heard that even if you read the book, the movie was...
Well, Riley said a lot of stuff was missing, and they did sort of a bit of a tweak on a lot of things. But if you didn't read the book, the movie makes no sense whatsoever. She had to explain everything to me, and it still didn't make sense. So, hard pass. I'd managed to skip it up until this point. Yeah, I started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 5. I'm 3 episodes in, I think. Still love it. Love it. And then I took a slum dive about a week ago with Riley. We were up late, just Netflix diving, and I watched a movie called The Package.
The Package.
Has anyone
is that a Netflix original? They're in the forest and they've got an
bunch of young people. They go around and the young bloke cuts his old fella off, and they've got to get... It is fucking random.
Is it just rubbish?
It's rubbish, but there's the young girl in it is the chick that's in Cock Blockers with Cena and stuff. John Cena. Genevieve, someone I can't think what her last name is. She's really good. Like she could definitely do some stuff. The rest of it's just poor, like really, really bad.
Sorry.
Quality material.
Sorry, the whole premise is a guy cuts his dick off.
They're on a drunken camping trip, and he's mucking around with the butterfly knife. His mates scare him, and they cut off his tackle. He gets rescued. Then his friends have to get the dick there because the paramedics grab the wrong cooler that's got the beers in it, and the one with his dick still with his friends in the forest. So their whole journey there. Then they get there and they sew his dick onto the wrong person somehow. Then they've got to rip the I don't know how it got made. I don't know how it got made.
This is a Netflix bloody original.
Netflix will obviously greenlight anything. It is there's some stuff like we giggled. I'm not going to lie. There's some giggle worthy stuff in it, but also there's just so much head shaking. Going, is this fucking dead set for real? Is this actually happening?
I have to put it on tomorrow.
Mate.
I got the day off.
It's free. Check it out.
Better way to spend your day off.
I am doing some homework over the next couple of weeks because I'm on leave.
Do a double feature with the other one I watched, because I watched Zombievers to take one for the team. But apparently Jared's already sat through
the thing is, I would have taken that one. You wouldn't have to take that one for the team. I would have watched that any time.
You cannot watch it. It is so bad.
Yeah?
Not even
I'll be watching that too.
The effects in it.
Don't waste your time. Want something
It's
funny.
not even good bad. It's
The package there.
At one point, a beaver it chews on this is just an example of how bad the special effects are. A beaver's chewing on an electrical outlet, catches on fire, and then goes and runs. And I say that with inverted commas, into a curtain to catch the cabin on fire. But when he runs, it's like it's a fucking shoe that someone's put some fur on, and they just turn it by pulling a string and then drag the lid like it's on fire. They drag it under the curtains. There's no animation. That the budget must have been about $10,000, I think.
Man.
It's
Bloody
really
hell,
poor.
you have done a deep dive there. The package and Zombievers.
Well, the package I didn't know what it was. You know,
You just
I was
sort of
thinking-
jumped on it. And
It just looks like a teen comedy,
Yeah.
like standard sort of thing, and then it just took a nasty turn when he cut his wang off. But that's the whole movie. It's his whole movie. It's just mind blowing.
a whole movie that cut your dick off.
Pretty much. Yeah. So that was it for me. There's a lot of what I got 4 full seasons of TV in there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a bit of volume. So, but that's it. I've got no more.
All right. Without further ado, let's get into
I've set the bar nice and high.
1985's Death Wish 3.
New York, a city pushed to the edge. People pushed to the limit, and no one's got the guts to stop them.
It's collection time, Charlie.
3 murders, 4 rapes, 9 acts of random violence. This isn't a neighborhood, it's a war.
But there is one way. One man who won't be pushed. Charles Bronson.
What's the problem? Now you're gonna die.
It'll be just like before, Mr. Vigilante, with one important difference. You're gonna work for me.
People have got to start to fight back and hard.
I sent them a message.
That's him.
I'll take care of it.
Now he's in the middle of a war.
See what you done? You got me mad.
In a world gone mad, there is only one law. His, Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3. Bronson's back in New York, bringing justice to the streets. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 3.
Death Wish 3, 1985, directed by Michael Winner, who directed the first 2 Death Wish films, I believe. What did you say he ended up as?
So apparently, I can't vouch for this, but I read it in an article that he, after he left filmmaking, he began writing a restaurant critique called Winner's Dinners.
I wonder if his name's ironic.
Well, he certainly wasn't a winner in the directorial.
He's never won anything, this bloke.
It's produced by Yoram Globus and Menem Golan, who we know from Canon films.
Go boys.
Big fans of Chuck Norris and co. Written by Dan Jacoby, who wrote Arachnophobia and a Van Damme classic, Double Team.
Jesus.
And it's based on characters created by Brian Garfield. It stars Charles Bronson as Paul Kersey, Deborah Raffin as Catherine Davis, Ed Lauter as Richard Schreiker, and Martin Balsam as Bennett. The budget for this was $9 million. No, sorry, it might have been. I've got 2. It says it was either 9 or 10, and the box office was $16 million.
Oh.
So they made some profit. They made some profit on Death Wish 3. Now, just a little bit of trivia. 2 pieces of trivia. Charles Bronson was paid $1.5 million. That was a $10 million budget. The second was, this shows you the Canon Films way of doing things. The concept of Paul Kersey facing a street gang was developed by screenwriter Don Jacoby. He specialised in science fiction films, having developed scripts for Canon Films. His screenplay reportedly turned Kersey into an urban version of John Rambo, displeasing Charles Bronson in the process. The producers then tasked someone else to write other potential versions of the script. This person brought in 3 or 4 different samples. They immediately scrapped them all and went back to the original.
This has got to be this is basically just a John Rambo movie.
Yeah, basically. That was basically how it...
Wow.
And Bronson wasn't happy with it, but still they said, yep. Well,
He said, but how many dollars?
Yeah,
And all I
1.5.
do is squat down and shoot at things. I'm there. Oh.
Do I have to run much? Only occasionally.
And then do the best trip in cinema history.
And it doesn't have to be fast, Charles. Don't worry about that.
All right.
These guys are fast and
All
people
right,
awake and
Jared, your thoughts on this picture?
Yeah, okay, so...
Because you also watched Death Wish 2.
I've watched 1 and 2 recently.
Fuck, you're a sadist.
2 today. 3 today. Yeah, look, I was looking to... I've been caught up in Death Kiss fever. What can I say? I saw Death Kiss and I thought, shit, I've got to go back to a couple of these. Now, admittedly, I hadn't seen a ton of Bronson canon pictures.
Was this the reason why Bronson's name came up in the text message? Was it because you've been looking at the Death Kiss trailer recently?
Yeah, I had been looking up. I've been researching a little bit of Bronson. Look, I'd never seen a lot of his canon output. I do recall, however, for some reason, I remember my dad watching The Evil That Men Do. And obviously I had no idea what it was at the time, but I just couldn't help but think, who's this mustachioed slab of meat that's just, spraying bullets everywhere? I was captivated. No, so obviously you put out Death Wish 3 and I thought, I don't know, but then I thought canon pictures, Charles Bronson. What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
What part of that makes you think yes?
Well, Adam had already committed.
Well, you heard him, Bronson, Death Wish 3, canon fake pictures.
We just bloody egg each other on. I mentioned the name Bronson. Adam, he
I usually said Death Wish 5.
Adam, he's canon pictures. Bang, he's scheduled us in. He's hired the movie. He's like, what can I do? But
you got them like those guys in the film. You got the car rolling down the hill, mate. And I just took off.
Yeah. So it's hard to say I was, pleased with what was going on screen. It's an absolute bloody schmozzle, with not a shred of realistic kind of social commentary about it. Or the original ones had an element of that, obviously more in the books, but this one just fucking threw that all out the window and said, how many guns can we jam in here? How many people can Bronson kill? And I can't say it wasn't entertaining. It was thoroughly entertaining, but it's got to be about a 1.5, doesn't it?
That's generous.
Right, I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to start at 5 stars and work backwards. Lose a star for Bronson's acting. Lose a star for the fucking hellmouth they seem to be living in. Lose a star for a unnecessary romantic subplot that was absolutely cringy juicy. Lose another star for fashions and a ugly rape
culture.
Had to be continually brought up for some reason. This is winner's fault, and I'll put it at 1 star because I, like you, was super entertained. I laughed my ass off. But it's just shit.
But none of it
just
was meant
terrible.
to be.
It's not deliberate.
Yeah. No, it's not deliberate. The fact that it made some money makes me just go, what was going on in 1985?
It makes me hate the movie going public.
But yeah, I've gone backwards from 5 to 1. Gibbo?
Well, I'll work up from 0 and just stop at a 1/2 star.
What was the 1/2 stars for? Was it his moustache?
No, it's how he runs.
Right.
Grabbing handfuls of it.
He looks
himself along.
Honestly, mate, he looks like bloody.
It looks like he's running
Usain Bolt.
He's a pure athlete. What did we figure? Did we figure out how old he was at this point?
He was about. Look, I haven't got the full details, but I believe he was. I think he might have been in his 60s, mate. He was 65 or something.
I mean, he's in good shape, but a bloke at that point should never be in a foot race with anyone.
No.
So the 1/2 star, honestly, my likes, there's none. There's nothing. I've got nothing to.
Well, we're going to do
nice
things a
about
little
this movie.
differently tonight. We're not going to do likes and dislikes because, quite frankly, I couldn't pick where I wanted to put things.
The line was blurred.
Yeah.
All the dislikes are likes because you laugh at how bad it is.
To me, we are just going to go from head to toe.
Yeah.
And we're just going to throw things out there that we liked and we thought were funny and what was shit. And so let's just get straight out there. The immediate thing for me is we get him coming into town in a cab and there's an accident between two cars, and I thought there was like a pile up. He goes, "Here's $20 to get us out of here." The guy takes the $20, veers off the road slightly and goes straight round there. Boom, that's
One car.
And
You said, just keep your 20 in your pocket, mate. We'll be out of here in 2 seconds. You've jumped ahead for me. There was already 2 or 3 before that. Number 1, having just watched Death Wish 2, I've piped up with, obviously Jimmy Page wasn't doing the music again.
He is.
Bang, Jimmy Page, music. You know, I'm sitting there thinking, really? Like, it was all synthesizers and stuff coming into town. He's on the bus and we got a bit of synth music and all this sort of shit.
But it's all cheerful. It's not the right mood for this movie at all.
But then we almost immediately get the gang, the bozos running up around the building and that, and they're just. All of us have looked at it and said, "What is going on here?" It was like the descriptions were the Warriors crossed with Streets of Rage.
Honestly,
crossed with Menudo.
They're the least menacing gang I've ever seen. Yeah. And then, like, they were at home.
Painted faces.
Well, they were at home, and Pat Benatar's Love is a Battlefield film clip, as far as I was concerned.
All the bad film clips.
Yeah, they've all got shit like they've got like bandanas wrapped around their arms. They're all colourful and stuff. They're wearing crop tops and stuff.
Mesh tank tops.
It is just a laugh riot when you see them. The moment you see them on screen, they exude no menace at all.
But at no point in the movie is there any motivation outlined for this gang at all. Like, they just run around smashing things and then jumping and holding hands. Very strange.
And also,
no motivation's drawn out for anybody, really. You're all scum, you're all thugs, here's a bullet.
But you know what though? Also, one of the big things for me was the first time we see that block that they seem to be living on. Like, it is as bombed out as Afghanistan. It looks bloody awful.
Yeah.
And
everything's on fire.
Yeah.
And there's just garbage everywhere.
Yeah. There's cars overturned and bloody bombed out.
They're trying to make it like normal people are living somewhere on this street.
And once they get further down into the movie, they're saying things like, "Oh, we're not going to get forced out of here." Well, fuck, mate. What's left to want to be here for? Like, it's long gone.
Every building's condemned, including the one you're in.
Every time you go to the shop and get a load of bread, you get rolled for it, and your missus gets stabbed.
Yeah. We see
these blokes haven't had a sandwich in years.
We see copious amounts of people in the suburbs being kicked in the backside and they're walking down the street.
Just lay the slipper into a fucking random
Someone just knocked over and
pushed over and just woofed.
Just kick him in the bum a couple of times. Yeah, I'm really hungry. I'll probably cop a couple of kicks in the bum today just to get.
I have to go down to the shop to get a pint of milk. I better grab my bloody riot shields. Gear up before I go out there.
Oh, shit.
So I was still a little bit hopeful that something in this movie would be good until he walks into his mate's apartment, and we have his mate who's been supposedly bad.
Quite brutally bashed, because at one point he headbutts the table.
His face plant into that lamp table is next level.
He ends up wearing the bloody lampshade as a hat. That's fantastic.
But Paul walks in and goes over to him, and the bloke's pretty alert and quite chipper. He starts talking and then has literally the worst death scene in the history of cinema. He's just talking, take care of all my things, and then he just goes,
take care of my things.
Really, like, demonstrative death with his eyes open. How that was the best. Did they do one take and just say, "Oh fuck it"? It can't be the best of a multitude of attempts.
We have not got time. Let's move on. That entire scene, there's 5 minutes that is just absolute nonsense. Had me rolling in the aisles. There's that bit where he goes down, take care of my shit. then boom, the door flies open, the cops come in. They don't ask any questions, they immediately arrest Bronson
And start
without
roughing him
asking a
up.
question. Then we're back at the cop shop, they are flogging the shit out of him.
This is where they're going for the Urban Rambo thing, because it's just like from First Blood
He's
Part
just
1.
sitting in the chair going, and straight left and right. And then in comes the chief and goes, what's going on? And the other, oh look, we just beat the confession out of him. Oh, just leave, guys. They all leave. The chief mumbles a few things about hating cockroaches, then just
Wails him.
just absolutely punches Bronson's face in, then sends him off to a holding cell where when he walks to the door, this
The guy
he's shuffling the spot going, you want a little bit of this?
That sequence.
I believe he says, and I'm assuming we're supposed to, think this bloke's on drugs because, he's jittering for some reason, and he goes, "You're looking for trouble."
But he's doing like the little foot shuffle, like shadow box
But the
thing.
funny thing is, Bronson just sort of doesn't even answer, just moves out of the way, and then another bloke just gets fucking away.
Yeah, the bloke that said you're looking for trouble punches somebody else.
Yeah, but by accident. He punches someone and then gets laid out because he punches a monster of a human. Anyway, that was the second sign that we're in for a real fucking slaughter.
At that point, I was absolutely spent.
At that point, I was like, "It's going to be a shit movie, but fuck, it's going to be fun. If it's like this, it is going to be fun." The extra part of that I really enjoyed was he gets in a bit of the back and forth with what was his name, Fraker or whatever. The guy, the guy that was running the crew.
The guy was a fucking
the reverse mohawk.
Yeah, the reverse mohawk. So he gets in a little bit of back and forth, and then he walks out of the prison and goes, "I'm going to kill an old lady just for you. Watch the news tonight," or whatever. And then he walks out and goes, what does he say? Belmont and That's my turf. And Belmont, that's my turf. And then walks out in front of all the cops. Then we get into the bloody room where the police are having the daily rundown. And the old captain that's just finished beating the shit out of Bronson gets up the front and goes something to the effect of Belmont the Sardo. It's a fucking war zone down there. What do we got? We got nothing. Then someone goes, it's gang related. And then nothing else. I'm thinking someone in there has probably just said, listen, that bloke we just released mentioned something about that being his turf. We might want to talk to him.
Yeah, but there was a scene there where he was talking to the cops, and I got the feeling that he was connected.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But then never came up again. So
Maybe was that his lawyer? I thought it might have been his lawyer.
It could have been. It wasn't really specified. I mean,
Surprisingly, the movie didn't clearly define what the role was there.
I was laughing at the previous stuff too much. But we go from that scene into the captain who beat Kersey up and starts going, I know you. You're Kersey. I'm a big fan.
He says, you've been laying low recently. You're six scumbags shot in Chicago, another 4 shot up here, and then another 2 over in Long Island. And as you pointed out, Gibbo, how are you connecting this shit together?
Someone was shot, it was clearly you. Like, come on, mate.
Well, the thing is, the way Kersey gets his weaponry through the mail, he could have got bloody anything.
Yeah, look, there was an incident, there was somebody who was heavily involved in crime and drugs that's been shot. Might have been, am I on the mark here? Is this
Bronson, he would have just gone, maybe.
But I mean, given the sense, I've got a folder here on you that is no thicker than 1 page of notes. I'm thinking if he's done all the research on those crimes, he might have connected it, but he's just got a page of notes. So
it's just a newspaper cutting, as far as I can tell.
He hasn't put in the leg.
No, the best scene of the entire movie is as Bronson's being released from prison and just leaving the police station, three uniformed coppers seem to be wrestling with
the hookers.
3 prostitutes that Jared, how did you explain how they looked?
It looks like they're wrestling with the Pointer Sisters.
Mate, they were doing the neutron dance with them. Fuck, it was funny because I'm just sitting there thinking, this isn't how police stations work, surely.
Look, one thing I will say for the Death Wish series, after watching 2 and 3 in quick succession, I don't think there's ever been a series of films who have put so much effort into background work, trying to animate what it's like living in this world, and done it so fucking clumsily and it's just weird. Like some of the stuff that was going on in the back of part 2 was just absurd as well. So
before we get out of this, just need to point out Paul Kersey's ability to walk off a flogging is next to none. I mean, he gets belted up in his mate's apartment. He then gets belted up in the police station. Then he gets belted up in the cell where they're holding him. They're laying the slippery, and he just gets up and sits down like he just had a cup of tea. Like there's no ill effects whatsoever.
He actually got knocked out in part 2. I can't remember in part 1, but in part 2 he actually got knocked unconscious, so they must have fucking hit him with a bloody sledgehammer or something.
Yeah, they ran over him with the tank.
No, the only reason that he shakes everything off is because Bronson is just fucking wood.
Yeah.
He just is awful.
And his
line
hair's like a
reading at the
helmet
top
at this
shop.
point.
Yeah.
It's right down
Ray
his
Martin.
cheeks.
It's Ray Martin with a mustache. Still got the worst hair in the movie. We need to go back and talk about old mate's reverse mohawk. I've never seen that one before. Just a shaved strip down the middle of your head with a red line in it.
The only time I've seen it is in WWF.
Did someone else do that?
Surely Legion of Doom. Can't remember whether it was Hawk or Animal.
You know what though? The bad guy, he spends most of the movie giving us that menacing sort of looking over at us and saying, hey, you know, I'm going to kick some ass or whatever. But when he picks up the phone to ring for reinforcements, he sounds like he's calling for fucking real estate or something. He's there going, yeah, look, I desperately need as many more people as I can possibly get here. Can you send them down? Thank you. Like,
could you please send me some more assets, sir? I'd really appreciate it.
And what I love about that is they never connect. Who the fuck is he talking to? Like,
You never see that.
Who are these people that are sending thousands of fucking village people for these things?
You're calling a talent agency. You send in all the backup dancers. We need as many as you got.
Any dancers that are not currently working on 80s film clips, can you send them down here? Shit.
Cameo, yeah, we'll take them too. Before we move on from the police station, the one kernel of a good idea that I thought could have been possibly, you know, mined a little bit further if it wasn't a canon film was the idea of the police just saying, yeah, we can't do anything. Our hands are tied. I'm going to give you free rein. Just give us some of the credit.
Yeah. That actually wasn't a bad idea because it then cuts out the whole your thinking process of wouldn't the cops be looking into this guy and arresting him?
Yeah.
You know, like it takes all that away. So I kind of, I kind of accepted that as actually being an alright idea.
And it would have, it could have been furthering some of the social commentary that they were attempting in the earlier ones. Not much.
Not here.
It's gone out the window.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that they even bothered to address the fact that, you know, anybody that's witnessing this, anybody that's seeing what's going on and giving a description, look, it was a large salt and pepper booth on, a finely manicured bloody mustache.
And he's either wearing jeans with a suit jacket, a nice sweater with collared shirt, or leather jacket.
And I'm pretty sure any cop that's, you know, been around at all is going, yeah, Paul Kersey. It sounds a lot like Paul Kersey.
The only thing is, when he went for the leather jacket jeans combo, they may have mistook him for Danny Zuko. he done, when he first walks into the shop with that on, I was like, oh no, have a look at you.
The police procedure in general is pretty shaky. Like when he works into his mate's apartment and they arrest him, there's no hint of the Miranda rights. Then the questioning's, like, everything's a bit shady. It's a good chance that there's a lot of crime because people are uprising against the police department because they're nothing if not inept and corrupt. So,
yeah, and it just shows in the fact that they beat the living shit out of Kersey. In comes the chief, goes, hang on, fellas. And then
he actually says at that point that he knows who he is. He's like, you're Paul Kersey, and then punches him in the face. At one point, Paul is just in between scenes, decides to bust out some impromptu push-ups just out of nowhere.
Oh, that's right.
That was a good giggle, that one.
Man,
and he's really churning them out.
He was absolutely cracking him out.
Hold on, he's going down and his hair's going...
Yeah, it's mostly an upper body push-up, I think. He might have been on the ground at about waist level and just pumping out some upper bodies, but...
They were fast though. He was pushing them out.
He wasn't getting down to the chest, I don't think, or at least the lower push-up. He was just doing the top half.
I think it was around that time too that he's done the asking Bennett, is Bennett the old bloke?
Yeah.
Ask Bennett, who killed Charlie? And he goes, I'll show you. And he opens the window, and they're all four of the major players are in very close proximity to the window and each other.
Yeah.
Like, these three here, and this guy here, he's the boss. It's like just thinking everyone in 2 seconds flat.
They might be on the street. Let's have a look. Yep, there they are.
All of them. Everyone that's involved. And then he quickly nips downstairs to the old couple. This is Paul. He was admiring your dinner. Stuffed cabbage.
No one has ever admired stuffed cabbage. Oh.
Because he has quite an interesting cuisine throughout the film too. At one point he tells us that he likes chicken.
I like chicken, that's right. He does have a refined palate because he looks like when he's actually eating with that family, I'm sure what they're serving up is a bloody can of Pal that's been heated up.
I think it's bloody high GI gruel or something.
Yeah. When that comes down on the table, I'm saying, you got any more of that stuffed cabbage? That was beautiful.
Well, we're talking about the convenience of the villains being standing outside. What about when he's in the fucking apartment and he looks down and there's perfectly formed black footprints of some nefarious character that's climbed in through his window, which gives him the idea to set up some booby traps.
And accidentally stepped in a black paint tin that was on the way.
But those steel grates outside would be completely clean. You'd have the cleanest shoes, but there's these perfect outlines.
Well, let's be fair. We did see outside that there's about 14 buildings that have been destroyed. Cars have been blown up.
There's enough soot that he probably stepped in something.
On the positive side of that, though, it does then lead to the Home Alone portion of the film, where he sets up random booby traps around the place.
Including a gigantic mousetrap.
A mousetrap device that apparently extracts teeth from the front of people's faces.
That is one of the greatest scenes in the film. He sets up this mousetrap using a bloody piece of board 10 feet long and a huge bloody hinge. He sets it all up. They're having dinner with stuffed cabbage mayo, and then they go, "Oh, this is a lovely meal." You just hear this, whack, and Bronson sort of smiles and goes, "Oh, we got one."
Everyone's had that feeling. You hear the mousetrap, you go off, and you're like, "God, that little bastard."
Oh, it was so good though, because you just see everyone enjoying a meal and then hear the. Fuck! It was funny. It's so funny.
Bronson, he gives chase after a bloke. he gives chase several times, but the first time he does it, a woman is mugged, and the bloke takes off, and Bronson takes off after him, looking every bit he's 60 odd years. And
he's really labouring.
Honestly, the guy drops back again.
Yeah.
He just drops into cruise mode because Bronson is punching out the.
Yeah.
He's desperately putting in the legwork, but he looks worse than Lundgren.
The bloke is the guy in front. Is it Giggler at that point?
I think
it's Giggler.
The first one's Alex Winter, and then Giggler after that.
Giggler's at a 3/4 pace, and he's looking over his shoulder, just opening up a massive margin on Bronson.
He's gapping him at half speed.
You touched on it earlier, but in between them we had the first of a couple of deliveries by mail. Simpler times where you could just send. You could wrap
guns,
high-powered weaponry in a bit of brown paper and just post them anywhere. Thanks to what was their name? Worldwide Air Delivery or Worldwide Air Express or something.
They ask on the phone. They're like, "Does this need to be in a lead box?" "No, mate, just cardboard and some butcher's paper, thanks." Customs won't ask any questions.
They deliver a fucking bazooka to the bloke in the same manner.
Yeah.
I think it had a sticker saying "handle with care," but that's about it.
Do not crush.
At that point, he didn't have a lot of didn't have a large time frame to work with, so they thankfully sent it express.
Well, if I'm in the market for a bazooka, I'm sure Amazon could ship it over to me in a cardboard box.
The whole way through the movie, the music is just off. Like you'll be in a scene where there's the music's trying to purvey some kind of dread, and then inexplicably just sounds like a Wiggles theme song. Just like there's murder happening, and there's just this cheerful little chimes, and It's way off. Like Jared said, Jimmy Page was off his chop for this one. There's no
I'm telling you now,
explanation.
mate, Jimmy Page didn't have anything to do with this. They just pulled some leftovers from what he'd given in part 2, I reckon. But
There was a lot more guitar in part 2.
there's a sequence in particular where that's very prevalent, is where the Giggler nicks the Giggler steals a woman's handbag, runs off, Bronson whips out the hand cannon, and it's all sort of dramatic music. He shoots him in the back, and then it changes to the fucking theme song for Good Times. Everyone's there going, yeah!
Well, that's when that's the next thing I had is the community's attitude to murder in general.
Once they kill the Giggler, it's a fucking block party.
It's a free-for-all. Everyone's hanging out the windows cheering, and old ladies are waving their bras in the air. It's just next level.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, he did actually get a round of applause out the window.
He does, yeah, he does. He's this close to a fist pump and a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Well done. For me, the one part of the film that I just couldn't cop is, why do we have to have so many people being raped? Like, there was someone raped, there was then numerous women seen dragged off in the middle of a gunfight to
Topless.
be raped, I assume.
But topless for it's gratuitous.
Through the whole series.
It's a real ugly, I think, unnecessary, gratuitous way to continue to showcase, these guys are the scum of the earth.
Well,
they rape people.
Thankfully, to suggest that, you don't have to show it over and over again.
Yeah, thankfully it's a bit of a relic. We don't
we don't see it
have to
anymore. And
motivate
that's what I was
characters
saying.
with that shit.
The remake wisely got rid of it.
Yeah.
It's not in the remake at all.
Well, that's better. You still see movies like I Spit on Your Grave, that sort of stuff, where the whole thing it's just exploitation.
Yeah. And I mean, it was it showed up in bloody Kickboxer.
Yeah. That was pretty uncomfortable in that too. Yeah.
So I think it was just attitudes at the time. Thankfully, it fucking moved on from. This is the only thing that we can use to motivate someone.
Except when it turned up in something like Halloween, the Halloween remake or something like that.
As you describe it, those films are vile.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is I don't see any reason for that shit.
No,
at all.
I mean, it's entertainment. At the end of it, it's entertainment, and it's sort of.
If you're going to do it, it needs to be insinuated.
Yeah, insinuated, suggested, off screen.
And I feel that's more powerful.
Yeah,
it doesn't even need to. But for me, the whole use of it is not powerful, because it's like, if that's the only thing that can motivate this man to be raging to such a point that he wants to kill someone, like, really, is that the only thing that we can use?
But at this point, it's not even people that he's specifically close to.
Exactly.
It's a very vague acquaintance's partner.
Yeah.
And a generic random lady that's just walking down the street.
And we didn't need it because we've been clearly told that the rest of the neighbourhood is fucking right on board. He's up to.
Plus, that's then followed by probably the most insensitive sequence in the entire film. We get told that the wife is okay, she's going to be fine.
Come to the hospital.
Kirsty keeps tapping the bloke on the back.
She's fine. She's
She'll
fine.
be right. It turns out the doctor goes, she expired. It's
She's
not a
not
fucking... it's not a carton of milk, you silly prick.
Bit of tact.
Yeah.
Fucking ball
It's
bag.
just like, oh my God. Honestly...
that was pretty bad.
Let's get back on more stable ground with Death Wish 3, and that is the romance.
Oh.
The ridiculous romance that comes up out of nowhere for no reason at all.
Well, we needed a little bit of the Bronson peck, like I told you. In Death Wish 2, you gave that, from on peck about 50 times. But that was his... I found out later.
That was actually
that was his real wife
Yeah.
that he was doing that with. So maybe he, I don't know why they thought that we needed it in this one. It was so far removed.
They met twice.
They did.
For no more than a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
She was a reporter reporting on fucking nothing as far as I could tell.
Just generic reporting.
And then...
I thought she was the lawyer when she came in.
Well, it's hard to tell. The pointer systems were still being locked up. They were still being processed at the time.
Yeah, there was a lot of noise going on.
Yeah, they were so excited. But she inexplicably finds them attractive.
Well, the age gap as well. Like when I saw her, I'm like,
She would be what, 30?
she'd be like probably early 30s, I'd say, like 34, 35. The bloke you said is like early 60s at this point.
Yeah, I think he was in his 60s.
The relationship in this should have been similar to what Sylvester Stallone did in the Rocky movie with the.
Yes,
You know,
the little
with-
girl
with
from the first Rocky and Rocky Balboa. You mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he gives her the job and stuff. Because when that movie started, I'm like, oh, please don't go down the romance route.
Yeah.
And they didn't. It was
Yeah.
tasteful. He was just trying to do something good.
Yeah.
This could have been the same, and it wasn't. It was very cringy.
No, because then it cuts to they're in bed together, but Bronson's already done the work and he's already getting dressed and getting the fuck out of there.
Thanks for that. I'm empty. I'm going to leave now.
I kind of wish they had have had both of them in bed and he had have said, I like chicken again. Very good.
No, because he does. I mean, he does say to her there, "Geez, I'm hungry. Do you want to go and get something to eat?" And that's where she gets punched in the face.
What's up with you blokes? As soon as he has sex with her, I'm like, well, she's dead. And then they tactfully say, let's go for some dinner. I'm just going to go to the post office and pick up some packages. I'm like, yep, that she's 100% going to get murdered.
And she gets punched in the face. They roll her car down a hill. It clips another vehicle. And everything explodes.
Yeah, and then
The other vehicle gets sliced in half.
Yeah, it's been pre-cut.
Yeah, and then the thing just goes, it turns into a fucking fireball. Thankfully, though, Paul Kersey has experienced this many times. He just
barely faces
nonchalantly walks off thinking, oh, well, there goes another life partner.
Another soulmate bites the dust.
Honestly, though, I want to get a gif of Bronson saying, I like chicken. And anytime you like send me a message and I'm agreeable, the response is going to be Bronson saying, I like chicken.
Can any of you blokes explain to me, because at this point in the movie the gang knows where the bloke is, they know he's responsible for all of their ill fortune. Why has no one killed this bloke?
Well, look,
he's a 65-year-old
They
that
can't get around
run.
the mouse traps.
Like, come on. He just walks down the street. There's like 100 of the blokes in this gang, from what we can tell.
I know.
Just
They ring in reinforcements when they need it.
Yeah, I think there must have been a lot of deleted scenes of other traps and, you know, people outside going, oh, would you blokes fucking clean your shoes? So he doesn't know where we're coming into the building.
Take your shoes off prior to entering the building.
Were the other traps like a tarantula dropping on their face and paint cans on ropes? White Christmas decorations on the door.
Yeah, hot door handle. Oh man, this
hard and feathered.
Oh, what else have we got here? The fact that he gets out when they finally get into the finale, they decide to pull out the World War II or the Vietnam era bloody
M30s.
minigun or whatever he's got. He proceeds to just spray indiscriminately. He doesn't think about there might be some other people, some innocents in amongst these guys. I mean, everyone's wearing jeans. And so
Yeah, there might be some old bird outside stuffing cabbage for all I know.
Well, a lot of the time when he's walking down the street, there's just groups of youths on the side of the road that don't appear to be gang members, but they look just like him.
Well, there's a sequence where one bloke is just having the shit kicked out of him outside of his car, and he is dressed in the similar kit.
Yeah.
So I just assumed he's one of the gang members. Next thing you know, he's on the ground, he's getting whooped.
He owed someone money for cars or something.
Before we even got to the war zone, the Bronson trip. Talk about an acting masterclass when he trips on what appears to be, I don't know.
Cinder block or something?
It was a cardboard box or something.
And it was actually around an iron peg in the ground, apparently.
Flings the gun away. Absolutely hits it. That was just... I don't know what happened after that because I was just so caught up.
I think you'll find that was his stunt double.
I think it was.
Taking the ball.
Otherwise, it was real. It was like, Bronson, can we crack into a sprint here? Charles has done a hand. Get the double out.
The other thing I was going to say too, and this really had me scratching my head, some of the directorial choices, the fast zooms to see someone closing the curtains, or fast zoom into a picture that's on the wall.
In the cop's office, when the bloke sits down in front of the camera and we just get
someone's ass
backside for a couple of seconds. When they go into the apartment with Bennett,
books,
and the books are sitting in front of the TV, but it obscures half the shot. Like, Really weird stuff.
Not to mention the weird, really tight close-ups on people's faces for no reason when they're not saying anything.
Mate, I'll tell you what, when you've got a head like Bronson, you back that shit up.
Come on.
Go to wide shot, please, fellas.
Yeah, the cinematographer's going, we need to back this thing up.
The writers of this film would have you believe that there's not enough close-ups of Charles Bronson, that women just cannot resist the man. But that's not the first cabbage you stuffed, is it, you old shag?
The cinematographer's going, Vaseline. We're out of Vaseline, get some more. I also love the fact there's a second mousetrap randomly situated at a doorway that no one sees.
Top of a random building for reasons. Which a bloke decides, I've really got to jimmy this door open and get in here for some reason. There's no explanation as to why he's going in there.
And none of the people that live in the building seem to have opened that door. Accidentally. Oh shit, I got out of the grocery store, I better use the back door of the apartment. Whack! A knife in the forehead.
Why would you even set it up there?
Yeah, and Kirsty's going, listen, Bennett, I'm going to have to go easy on the mousetraps. The last one backfired. We killed this Mangle in the fucking room.
Doris from level 3.
Yeah, look, she won't be making her stuffed cabbage any further.
And it needs to be pointed out that the ammunition that's used in this movie, there's a fair chance that about 60 to 70% of it is blanks, because the amount of people getting shot at that are clearly just safe as they could possibly be. Like the cops are just standing there in open field and not getting shot.
One guy in particular standing there with the door open.
Yeah.
He's just fucking, it's like the Wild West, mate. firing off, and then suddenly we just cut back to one of the other blokes going.
He's a fan of the stand and deliver too. He hears one person fire off a bullet and then just, stands out in the open, lines are up and bang.
He stands behind the chain link fence and thinks he's protected from like gunfire.
A couple of times he ducked down behind a metal bin, I saw.
Yeah.
But one of my favourite bits with him is when he puts out he's always putting out the bait.
Yeah.
For the scumbag.
The Nikon camera's the best one.
He's got the Nikon camera, he goes to buy some ice cream and then gets the Nikon camera and hangs it out. But he puts the car out there and then he comes out and here they are removing this shit out stereo and stuff and he goes, that's my car. Without any second word, boom, he just fucking shoots it.
Goes back down for some more cabbage.
Yeah, I think the subtext of this film is, cleaning up New York's rat problem or something, because he just seems to be, he's an exterminator. He's baiting things, he's setting mousetraps, he's just...
That's a good subtext, right?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I like about that too. He's in the middle of dinner when he finds out his car's getting ripped off. So he whips downstairs, shoots a couple of blokes, then comes back upstairs.
I've got a Viennetta. I managed to bring it back from the shops without getting rolled.
I brought half of it back. The other half was taken by the fucking thugs downstairs.
Giggler was hungry tonight.
So, I've got a question.
So do I, Betty.
In the first one, right? He's just is he an architect in the first one?
Yeah.
Because Bruce Willis is a surgeon or something in his one. Yeah. Anyway, so he's an architect, right? He's got no discernible skills. Does he have the history in the first one where he's been in Vietnam?
No. He just the first one they actually kind of. After he kills the first person, he kind of he vomits.
Yeah, because he hasn't killed him. And then in this one, they try to say he's in the war.
He's well adjusted to it at this point.
So they've totally
just years later, all those killings along the East Coast contributed to him.
In this one, he vomits, but he hasn't shot anyone.
He goes into withdrawals, gets the DTs. Haven't murdered anyone in 2 hours. Legit question. They've totally just rewritten the character because he's supposed to be just an everyman who has a terrible thing happen to him and snaps and goes on this retributional sort of tirade around
against nobody involved in that particular incident.
Well, the bloke that wrote the novel said basically
it was anti-gun, isn't that?
Well, what it was the thing in his novel is he wrote the book. The idea came when his own car got vandalised and his wife's purse got stolen or something like that. And he said he had all these feelings, like if I saw the person that did this right now, I'd want to fucking kill him. But then the whole thing... Well, that's the thing. He said initially, what that person's done hasn't affected me physically, it hasn't harmed me, but I'm so angry with what they've done to my car or whatever. They vandalised it. So then he said the thing for him was he had all these emotions initially that if he had acted upon, he doesn't know what he would have done. But in the long run, the message of the book was, it doesn't stop. Like, where does it stop? If I get violent in return, then I'm just as bad.
You're
and all this sort of stuff. Whereas the end of the Death Wish movie turned it into Bronson, doing the finger guns at crooks and things like that. So it's well gone. From this one.
This one, he just walks around and just doles out death left, right, and centre. But he just
he comes back to dinner after he's bloody, he stepped out and come back with dessert. Uses the napkin and a couple of fucking bullet cases.
Oh shit! Sorry about that.
But he just has no discernible, he has no actual skill set that would allow this to.
Even in the second one, he'd moved to LA because of the architecture job had kind of got him there, and then it's just another instance of violence puts him over the edge again. But this one, the edge is well in the rearview mirror at this point.
Well, this doesn't even pretend to tell us why he even came back into town. He was supposedly coming to see his mate, Mr. Bloody.
Which is dead in 2 seconds.
Mr. Dead in 2 seconds, but there was no reason for him to come back.
That happened to live in fucking Tombstone, New York.
I think at one point he mentions that his friend was really scared.
He banged it.
He'd been talking to him, and his friend was afraid, so he was probably come back to help him or something. But
the film didn't really lay that out.
No, well, the film didn't lay out anything of substance really,
other than the massive bodies.
The last thing I had was blowing away the bad guy with a fucking bazooka out the window.
Wasn't even out the window. He blew the whole fucking back wall.
The whole side of the building's coming down.
He doesn't even come out going, wiping off a bit of bloody dirt. The whole fucking building just about blew up.
Meanwhile, old mate's just a pile of fiery rags outside, just splattered.
And as you said, Cyndi Lauper finally puts up that, no, this is too far. We've had enough.
That's it. We've gone too far. Put it down.
This brick's too full on.
Prior to that, we had old women blasting, thugs out the window with a shotgun. Everyone had taken the Paul Kersey approach and started.
My favourite is the guy who opens the door and the dude just comes in with a baseball bat.
Going down the stairs.
It was pretty full on at the end. Everyone was into it. And wasn't there at one point someone tries to run into a building and then gets blasted, and then the people that live in the building start spewing out and taking the guns off.
Shooting blanks with point blank range in the head.
But then they're jumping in a circle with their hands in the air too, it's like a pep rally.
That last 15 minutes was unbelievable.
It was something special.
As we said, they were just
anything else we'd like to say about
brand
this?
of shit.
Well, I'd like to point out that we watched this movie together and we're in hysterics a lot of the time and chattering. There's a good chance we missed some really good quality dialogue in there. There'd be some lines in here that were absolute screamers we just missed.
Well, we must have missed all of it. Judging by our notes.
We've missed some really bad stuff.
It was short on dialogue. The movie did not have a lot of dialogue either, because Bronson, I reckon he was getting paid by the fucking
bullet.
Yeah, that's it. He was getting paid by how many people I get to shoot.
Yeah.
Can anyone tell me what the difference is between him and Robert Kovacs' performance in Death Kiss at this point? Because they look very similar.
And that's why
I think
Kovacs is so excited at this point.
According to Jared, Kovacs' performance is dubbed.
It can't be worse than this.
It
could be worse.
Look, put the two of them side by side. I think we can get a Death Wish 6 with Kovacs in the role.
That's what Death Kiss is, really.
Yeah, that's right. Far out. Bloody hell. I don't know. I've got nothing else to add.
I've got nothing else.
No, I'm
spent.
I'm pretty wound up. Pretty excited about it all, really.
Alright, that was Death Wish 3. If you want to get in touch with us, send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, or on Instagram at thrillmepodcast. The next episode, we promise, will be the Meg.
Do we
promise?
No, we okay, look, I'm not going to promise. I've promised repeatedly over the past couple of weeks that I failed. So...
School holidays, mate, they're difficult.
It is. They are difficult.
We'll do our best.
We'll do our best to get you the Meg. But until then, take it easy and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.